Okay. All right, everybody. Good morning. Happy Tuesday to you. Don't know why it's on that page. Weird. Okay, get the students in. All right, here's what I want you to think about. Those of you that are right in front of me in the room, let's put our phones away for a second. Okay, you got 7 regular days of school left for your final exam. Tim, take out your headphones. 7 days. What's one thing you want to get done in those 7 days before final start? Those of you on Zoom, I want you to put the answer to that question in the chat box as a private chat to me, please. One thing that you want to get done these next 7 days. Okay, that's how many regular days of school we have left. We'll start with Xavier. One thing you want to do. Okay. Kamara. Good. Chris. All right. Ritza.
I want to finish my work.
Good. You have it all done already? Okay. Kyra.
I have a couple things that are missing on it.
Gotta get some missing assignments in. Tim. Yeah. Study. Good. Yeah.
You get on finals?
Are you gonna take any of your files?
Yeah.
Missing work that might pop up randomly, get a B in world history, Spanish project. So 3 10 people online participated. Thank you to those who did. I think it's definitely important for you for the next 7 days, whatever days that you're in school. Make sure you connect with all of your teachers, all right? And go out of your way to figure out what you can turn in. And even if they say you can't turn it in, send it to them, as they'll be more likely to take it anyways, okay? Give you some credit for it. All right, everybody needs to go ahead and get their Chromebooks out, please. And go to modules, please. All right, so once you are in modules, you're gonna go all the way down to week 17, I believe. We're cruising here. Okay, so if you didn't take the quiz at home yesterday like you were supposed to, you can take that quiz. It's right here. It says 5-3. That's yesterday. And then today we are going to try to get as much of this documentary in as we can. Does anybody remember this sheet? Go ahead and get that out, please. And then those of you online, if you were here last Thursday, you already have this, but you'll want to go ahead and download this to your computer. And we got all the way to 1823, which was down to Vote for Hitler, number 2, where it said 1932, Hitler ran for the German what? Presidency, so D. Okay, so I'm gonna give everybody about 60 seconds to get to the spot that they need to be in. And then I want to get moving forward on this. Like I said, we got to cover a lot. So what I'll do is at the end of each section, I'll stop. We'll just review the answers and talk a little bit real quick, then we'll keep going. This is some very interesting stuff.
Can I get a paper copy of that?
Yeah. All right, so we got about 20 more seconds left for you to get yourself settled and get ready to start this. Like I said, we are on number 2 under Vote for Hitler. One second, please. I'll put it back here.
Can I get one too?
Where's yours, Tim?
I did it on the computer, but I'm probably just gonna switch to paper and write my answer down.
Yeah, this is gonna be worth the entire quiz grade, so. Obviously, I'm gonna talk about some of this stuff. All right, those of you that have a phone out, if I see a phone out while we're watching this, you're going to just, I'm just gonna immediately take 5 points off of your participation. Okay? I'm not even gonna say anything to you because you're old enough to understand the difference between right and wrong, I think. All right. One more thing I need to do is just the speakers. We should be ready to go. So if you remember right, Hitler had just lost the election. See what happens next? And the reason why we're talking about this is because it's kind of a metaphor for the rise of other dictators, even ones that we have in our world to this day.
Nach der Entscheidung sagt Hitler. Nicht zur Geltung in Deutschland derart kommt, was sie opposed the Nazis. He was sure that this was the end of Hitler.
Hitler himself is still rather a handicap for the movement that has gathered around him. Besides, for ordinary Germans, his personal appearance is thoroughly repellent. The epileptic behavior, the wild gesticulations and foaming at the mouth, the alternately shifty and staring eyes. Most of those who have begun to acclaim Hitler would probably avoid asking him for a light if they met him in the street.
But in less than a year, Hitler would be chancellor. It was the 10th of February, 1933. Although they had never captured more than 37% of the popular vote. The Nazis were the largest political party in Germany. And so, German leaders installed Hitler as chancellor. As many as 20 million people across Germany were tuned in to this radio broadcast.
Pay attention to this speech.
Hitler's
Question
largest
4.
audience ever.
Aufgabe der politischen Führung muss es sein, diese früheren Trennungen nun durch ein größeres Ideal, durch eine größere Erkenntnis zu überwinden.
In unser selbst allein. Watch this.
Die nun selbst allein
Liegt der Zukunft der deutschen Volkes.
liegt die Zukunft des deutschen Volkes. Wenn wir selbst
Not the U.S.'s hands, not the Treaty of Versailles, not France, not the League of Nations.
After this speech, Nazi Party offices were flooded with so many membership requests, they had to suspend admissions. Even so, Hitler did not yet control Germany. In 2 weeks, that would change.
What's that? Oh, you can just wait. You can stay later.
It was the morning of February 28th, 1933. If you lived in Berlin, you awoke to this. During the night, someone had set fire to Germany's parliament.
Just now, the revolution has begun in earnest. The middle class had been repelled by the roughness and lack of polish by the Nazis. Now, they've been frightened and won over by the Reichstag fire.
All right, let's take a second real quick here. Question 3, in less than a year, on February 10th, 1933, Hitler became the Chancellor, which is essentially like being the Speaker of the House. It's a non-elected position, meaning whichever political party gets the most votes gets to choose who they wanted to be the Chancellor. According to Hitler's speech, what is the task of politics? Luke. To overcome divisions for the greater good. I hope that by listening to that, you understood some of the propaganda that was used there. He was basically just ripping to shreds what had happened at the end of World War I, saying it's ourselves that are going to bring us up by our bootstraps, not some foreign countries telling us what to do. And he even said, if you look at the translation in English, he said the knowing and the unknowing, the people that live in the city and the people that live in the country. Does that kind of sound like communism to a sense as well? Bringing everybody together. So this is some of the stuff that a totalitarian leader does. 5, Hitler's first radio broadcast. What happened to membership application requests for the new Nazi party? Yes, Ian.
They got flooded and they actually.
Yes, they had to suspend admissions because so many people wanted to join. Lastly, on February 28, 1933, 2 weeks after Hitler became Chancellor, what happened in Berlin? Maritza?
Someone set fire to Germany's parliament.
All right, so that's someone set fire to Germany's parliament. Does this ring a bell to those of you that live in the United States? If so, why? Ian? Okay, so the United States Capitol building is the exact equivalent to the Reichstag. You remember images in January of people climbing in, breaking into it. This is oddly a similar event, but look what happens after this. So we're at Howl with the Wolves.
To this day, no one is certain who set the fire that destroyed the Reichstag. But Hitler knew who he would blame. His rivals, the communists. The Nazi press said that the Reichstag fire was intended as a signal for communist cells across Germany to rise up and revolt.
They wanted to send armed mobs into villages to commit murder and plunder. Hostages would be taken from the middle class. Wives and children of police officers used as human shields. The destruction of all cultural values, just like in Russia.
Hitler had invented a communist threat. Now he would use it to crush his opposition.
The morning after the fire, I discussed.
All right, so just take a look at the words on the screen. In 24 hours, as the second man in charge, not even in an elected position, Hitler gets rid of freedom of the press, freedom of speech, freedom to assemble, to protest, because of the fact that he blamed the communists for the burning down of this building. What do you think about this? Let's get somebody online. Francesca, because I can see you, no one else has a camera on. What do you think about him suspending all of these rights?
I
I think it's kind of suspicious. It's like he wants to hide something.
Yeah, Chris Barber, would you try to get out of town as quickly as possible if you saw this coming? Freedom of speech. Remember the French Revolution? Remember all of the wars that were fought, try to get people rights, and all of a sudden this guy is taking him from these people, and guess what? What are these people doing? Jacob, what are they doing? They are supporting him. Because of what? What's the P word? Propaganda. They think, and the old adage is, and you'll hear this again next year in US history, hopefully you have more time. The teachers are going to tell you he made the trains run on time. And if you get the people bred and you make the trains run on time, they're going to be happy with you. So this next section is about him manipulating the people even more. It's very interesting. Like I said, this is all primary footage. Not a single one of these things is made up. Okay. That's why this is by far the best thing this all year we watch in this class, and it's worthwhile. It's not fake.
The morning after the fire, I discussed these matters with a few friends. All of them are very interested in the question of who really started the fire. And more than one of them hinted that they had doubts about the official story. But none of them were bothered that from now on, their telephones would be tapped, their letters opened, and their desks broken into.
Radical and violent changes were happening across Germany. But Hitler had justified them all.
This ruthless intervention by the government may appear strange, but we must clean up. The communists have to disappear.
Day after day, flags raised, buildings taken over, people shot, newspapers banned. It is shocking how naked acts of violence, breaches of the law, barbaric opinions appear quite undisguised as official decree. Actually, it's terribly risky, even to be writing this. It was the 23rd of March. The communists were in jail. There was no one left to stop the new Nazi majority in Germany's parliament. When delegates voted to consolidate all power in Adolf Hitler. He had been chancellor for exactly 52 days. Now, for all intents and purposes, he was dictator.
We cry with happiness and joy. traces of resistance have been eliminated. Enthusiasm grips the entire nation. We can barely believe that our beloved Führer stands alone at the helm of the Reich.
All right, so let's go to that section. The first one, do historians know exactly who set the fire to the Reichstag? Anybody? No. To this day, most historians, I'm going to say, that's just something I've done a lot of research on in life, will say that it was somebody connected to Adolf Hitler's political party, and Adolf Hitler knew that it was going to be set on fire, and he used it as an excuse. This is question 2, to blame the communists because they were his rivals. And once he was able to blame them, he knew that nobody would have a problem with him going and attacking them. But what the video misses and doesn't point out, which it gets to later, is he also went to nightclubs in Berlin and in larger cities, and anybody basically who was homosexual or in any type of community that he didn't like, they just started sending them to prison camps. And if you go to Berlin, there's actually, they made this museum that's quite impressive. You can go into the underground stalls where they originally started putting people in 1933, and you can see like the cages they put people in. It was ridiculous. The torture tactics. They would take 2 men, put one of them in a cage with a dog that hadn't eaten for a month, and then they would make the other one watch as that person was eaten alive. It was absolutely terrible. And the whole point of these home videos is to show you what normal people thought was going on. Do you see the excitement in their eyes and their voices in these videos? And you look at people that are in parades. Notice also how everybody looks like they're wearing a military uniform all of a sudden. Remember, they weren't supposed to have a military, according to the Treaty of Versailles. So this whole thing, again, I just want you to get the idea of propaganda and honestly, just the whole idea of how important it is for you to critically think, about who you have as your leaders. Zariah asked a great question. Why would they still allow him to become chancellor if he was already doing these things within 50 days? So anybody want to answer that? Because Ethan said it's because the people thought he was good. They thought he was doing the right thing. Have you ever heard of Volkswagen before, the car? The German car? That in German means the people's car. Hitler created that company with the lie that he would get everybody a car. That's why it's called the Volkswagen, or the people's car. And yet, people all over the United States buy them now. There's a little side note. Okay, I'm gonna have to fast forward this to minute 43, even though I don't want to. I need to be a responsible, mature adult and not a college kid who wants to watch this. Yes.
So it really does seem like communist idea to have, like, if he was giving everyone the same car.
Oh yeah. So there's the irony behind this whole deal is this is National Socialism, which is just socialism with like a lot of pride in your country, but it is like one step away from communism. It's just Adolf Hitler's party is in charge. And the irony behind this whole deal, if we had time to actually learn about it, is Russia was the same way. Stalin and his small group of buddies were the ones running Russia. And he was the only one that could put anybody in power underneath him. Just like Adolf Hitler. Okay, we're going to hop into absolute obedience. Some of this is just scary and downright. Sometimes to me, I've seen this 100 times and I still get chills.
A new feature I never used to see. Behind the band and its following of brown-shirted storm troops, there is now a long tail of civilian flag wavers who never used to march with them. It was the 25th of February. These Nazi loyalists were assembled in Munich for what was billed as the biggest oath-taking in human history. If you knew what was good for you, you joined them.
Der Programmverkündung gemeinsam den Spur der Treue. Ich schwöre Adolf Hitler. Verbotliche Treue und bedingten Gehorsam.
I've absolutely stood in this exact location where he's giving this speech in Munich, and these parade grounds. It's terrifying because it's only a few buildings that still exist. But look at this pledge. Make sure you write this down. It's, I swear to Adolf Hitler, steadfast loyalty to him, and to him absolute obedience. He's getting the people to say this out loud. What do you think? Yes. Excuse me? B was steadfast loyalty to him. So now how has he changed this whole thing around? With just this oath. Yeah. Now it is not about him, and who is it not about?
Germany.
Yeah, the country. Now it's just about Adolf Hitler. And this is what a dictator does. So now his presence supersedes or goes above that of the country. And he's able to manipulate the people in a year. And again, I get creeped out just even looking at this, knowing that I've stood there and it's there today. Ugh. So he had master planners around him. He was not that smart of an individual. But some people say that makes you smart if you get smart people around you. So this is why they had this whole plan in place to prop him up.
In 1934, Kurt and Lotta Hartmann's oldest son, Peter, began school. Like other German boys, on his first day, he learned the mandatory German greeting, Heil Hitler. If you were an adult and you didn't use the Hitler greeting, you risked being sent to a concentration camp. So now, in public at least, it seemed as if everyone was a Nazi. cringes.
You see these people walking down the street? They didn't make this up. Do you see these dudes? If you didn't do that, they could take you to prison and put you in a camp where you would slowly whittle away and die. For not saying Heil Hitler. In German, that just means like praise Hitler. As a freaking greeting. Are you kidding me? Hi, Luke. Hello, Jack. Not Heil Hitler. How are you today? What the heck? Crazy, right? Insane. This ain't that long ago, folks. This is literally my grandpa was fighting in this war that's about to happen. I mean, your great grandparents probably. Yeah.
So like, did Hitler tell everyone to say that first, or did people just start saying?
No, that's what number 2 is. What was the mandatory greeting learned at school?
So,
What's that?
so the people like Hitler made them.
Yeah, he started indoctrinating the youth, and then he said to the adults, you have to do it too. And you're just supposed to catch on if you watch this, the slow, meticulous taking over of the people's minds without them knowing it.
This with fear. No letter, no telephone conversation, no word on the street is safe anymore. Everyone fears the next person may be an informer. Summer 1934. Nazi Party member Adolf von Hindenburg filmed this footage here on the island of Borkum in the North Sea. He and his friends were welcome at this popular vacation spot. Jews were not. For decades, the residents of Borkum proudly claimed to be free of Jews. And this year, the Nazis would set that goal for all of Germany. If you were a devoted Nazi Party member, the summer ended, as they all did, with the annual pilgrimage to Nuremberg for the party rally. For the faithful, this was the most highly anticipated event on the Nazi calendar.
One thing that always stood out to me is these people are wearing like nice watches. Now they're wearing real fancy uniforms. They're going to parties and rallies. When in the United States, we're at a 32% unemployment rate at this point. What's going on? Do you see why National Socialism looked more appealing than capitalism at this point? And again, I'll just let it go. You're going to see some crazy stuff here.
But the rally of 1934 would be particularly special because this year they would film the most influential piece of Nazi propaganda.
Literally can't watch this on YouTube. At least not in Germany, maybe in the States.
What I witnessed in Nuremberg is one of the most remarkable events I have ever experienced. I cannot compare it to anything I've ever experienced before as an artist.
Mein Führer, ich melde 52.000
Workmen.
Arbeitsmänner zum
That's a
Appell
load of
angemeldet.
BS. Sorry. Whoops.
Halt, Arbeitsmänner!
Okay, anybody around the room or in person want to tell me what these workmen are? What are they, Ian? They're what?
There's,
Sorry, say it again.
they're soldiers, it's the German army, they're just disguised.
Yeah, he's totally disguising these people as workmen when they're realistically soldiers.
To capture the glory of the Third Reich, filmmaker Leni Riefenstahl helped to stage it, directing and rehearsing this scene at least 50 times.
Kamerad, woher stammst du? Aus Griechenland. Und du, Kamerad? Vom Kaiserstuhl. Und du? Von der Donau, vom Rhein und von der Saar. Ein Volk, ein Führer.
The film Triumph of the Will premiered to worldwide acclaim, winning awards in Germany, Venice, and finally, Paris. Within a year of that award, Adolf Hitler was named Time Magazine's Man of the Year.
So, an American publication owned by United States citizens named Hitler Man of the Year in 1935. Why is that interesting, controversial? Who have been recent Time Magazine People of the Year? Can anybody name anyone? Excuse me?
Greta Thunberg.
I'm sorry.
Greta Thunberg.
Okay, and what did that person do? Climate change activism. Last year, I believe Time Magazine Person of the Year was the frontline workers that were on the front lines in New York City and other places dealing with the outbreak of COVID. I can remember in recent years, Barack Obama, definitely. Anyways, the point being, for him to get that kind of notoriety, don't you think people around the world might have seen some of this propaganda coming where he had a tremendous hatred towards the Jewish race? Yeah. All right, so we got about 1 minute, and then we'll just go through the answers real quick here. Chris, get your head up. Let me Say it again.
So like, is it like libraries with like chargers and stuff like over there?
Yeah. Wait, it's back that way and then straight down. I took the other before. It's a library.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, let's stop here. Let's just check answers real quick. So, one people, one Germany, one Fuhrer. The name of the film was Triumph of the Wills. Okay, what does that mean? Triumph of the Wills. Triumph means victory, right? What does wills mean? Yes.
I feel like it almost means like he's saying that the will and like the dedication of the German people is one. Like they're not being pushed down anymore, especially after the loss of World War I.
Yeah, so the loss of World War I, they have overcome it now. Within a year of the film, Hitler was named Time Magazine's Man of the Year. Beginning in 1935, Triumph of the Will was required viewing in all German schools. And today the film is banned in Germany. It's actually, if I have to be completely honest, it's kind of hard to find the manuscript of it. One year I went down a rabbit hole just out of curiosity. They don't even like to acknowledge it. So, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone, we are going to be I guess we're going to just go ahead and stop here today. We've got 2 minutes till the bell rings. I can't get this mouse to work. It's bothering me. Thank you for your participation today. I hope you are getting something out of this, as it is again interesting and probably not the best way. If you didn't take the quiz yesterday, make sure you take the quiz, please. And I'll put the scores in about 2 o'clock this afternoon. All right, have a great rest of your day, everybody. Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thanks. Bye-bye.